Hello, Martin. How are things at North 42 degrees this morning?
Hey, excellent. Thanks very much for asking. It's a beautiful day in the middle of summertime. Things are looking fantastic out here.
Tell me a little bit. There's got to be a story behind the name North 42 degrees. I'm guessing it has to do with your location.
Absolutely. In fact, because it's a fairly new wine area in Ontario, we wanted to create a statement of location immediately. And what better way to do that than to define it as a location of the 42nd parallel, which is a great place for grape growing on both sides of the equator, California, Rome, Hungary, New Zealand, Tasmania. We've been to quite a few wine growing areas in and around the 42nd parallel, and it's a good climate for growing grapes.
And honestly, I think a lot of people in Canada don't realize how far south, the Harrow and the EPIC region, the Essex, Pelee Island coast, that region is the most southern point of Canada, really.
In fact, the 42nd parallel is the California-Oregon state line.
There you go.
We are growing grapes in what is in the same parallel as Northern California, which, as I recall, is not a bad place to grow grapes.
Absolutely, yeah. And how many acres of grapes do you have, of vines do you have?
We have 17 acres on the estate, and we're also working with other grape growers for a total production of 23 acres this year.
Oh, amazing.
It's all vinifera and essentially Cab Franc, Cab Sauv, Pinot Noir, Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Gris, and Merlot.
Amazing. So a lot of reds, but a couple of the white varieties as well.
Yeah, in terms of volume, it's about 50-50.
Okay.
Reds and whites.
And we have included two of your lovely wines in the Savvy E.P.I.C Party Packs that we've put together, and you have them both there. They're delicious wines. Tell us a little bit first with the rosé.
Absolutely. The rosé is made from pure Cabernet Sauvignon. And we chose this grape for a couple of reasons. One, it has an excellent color contribution. And for our rosé, we use a 24 to 48 hour cold soak before maceration. And that's depending on the quality of the fruit and the time of the temperature and surrounding circumstances. This particular vintage was 24 hours of cold soak, which is a process where the color is leached from the skins before pressing.
The grapes,
for a more deeper color.
Okay.
And Cab Sauv has a good, strong backbone, which I think is important for propping up a fruity palate and aroma of the wine. It chimes in, I think, around 12.5% alcohol, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 11.5, and representative of a 19.5 bricks crop that we put into it.
So, and in terms of residual sugar, is it a dry rosé, or does it have a little bit of?
It has a little bit of RS, but because of the backbone, it's 6.7 to 7 grams of residual sugar per liter is balanced quite nicely with the acidity from the Cab Sauv grapes. It's a delightful product.
That's what you want in a rosé, I think. It makes it a little bit more food friendly when it has just a little touch of residual sugar.
Absolutely. Seems to be the go-to for our charcuterie boards at North 42. And it's one of my favorites for just sitting around and discussing life and philosophizing with my wife and friends out on the patio.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what a lot of people think of with rosé. It's just your backyard or back deck or cottage glass when you're, just in the afternoon having something cool to sip on. It's beautiful, and I love the color. It's a little darker than some of the light rosés you see from some of the old world regions, specifically France. But I think it's unusual for Ontario to make a rosé from Cabernet Sauvignon. So I think this is something different for people to try.
Absolutely. Well, that's kind of the way we do things a little bit at North 42. We're not afraid to dabble in something a little bit different. Even our sparkling wine is a Sauvignon Blanc based Prosecco wine, and not too many wineries are producing a Sauvignon Blanc sparkling at this point in time.
No, yeah, especially in Canada. Yeah,
especially in Canada.
And so turning to your Cab Franc, which I don't know if many people know this. Those who've maybe taken a few wine classes would know Cab Franc is one of the parent grape varieties of Cabernet Sauvignon.
That's correct. Cabernet Sauvignon and Sauvignon Blanc were crossbred to produce Cabernet Sauvignon.
And
in fact, I think it's only about 400 years old as a cultivar.
Only 400, yes.
That's fairly modern as things go.
Yeah.
Whereas Cab Franc has been around for thousands of years. It's, I tell my customers, it's the second thing they planted after the Romans planted their feet, they planted the Cabernet Franc.
That's true. Yeah, that's been around for a long time, and one of my favorite red grapes, Cabernet Franc.
I would agree, and it's one of the great cultivars that does very, very well in Ontario, and in particular, Windsor, Essex, and Lake Erie North Shore.
Mm-hmm.
The EPIC wine area has fantastic Cabernet Franc, and it's a lot of fun just sipping on Cab Franc alone and trying from one winery to another and doing a terroir comparison to see what's what, because the wineries are so close together. The only thing that really separates us is the microclimate and soil type. We're blessed with a very diverse collection of soil types in a close area here in Lake Erie North Shore.
Oh, really? Okay. And what kind of soil do you have at North 42 Degrees?
We are particularly lucky. It's something called Harrow Sandy Loam, which is an arbitrary name, but really what it is ground up Canadian shield. It's pulverized granite, an excellent growth medium. It has superior calcium and magnesium content, which allows our grapes to just, every day is spa day out here for the grapes. And it shows up in the quality of the wine.
Wow.
Can't take credit for the condition of the construction of the soil, but I have to say it's a big part of the final product.
And what can we expect in the glass when we pour your Cab Franc? What are we going to, what aromas are we going to smell?
First thing you're going to, that's going to occur to you is the fresh black pepper, fresh cracked black pepper.
I love that.
And oodles of cherry. And this wine is particularly reminiscent of rich, dark, well-harvested, well-ripened Bing cherry, almost a black cherry. And the black pepper and the cherry combination sort of leads my brain to think about chocolate. I'm not sure I'm actually smelling chocolate, but I think it's a trick of the black pepper and the cherry profiles that are expressing themselves that way.
Okay.
Very, very long finish, supple tannins, beautifully aged in stainless steel.
So no oak at all?
I use oak chips in the stainless steel tank to provide the oak chemistry necessary to carry out the proper maturation process.
Right.
So the color is stable and the tannins are nice and supple.
That's great. I mean, and I think, how long do you keep the chips in there with the wine?
This depends entirely on the year and the wine. In low temperature years where there's not a lot, you're dealing with low Brix fruit, which means low quantities of everything, including the anthocyanin and the tannins and light bodied wine. You want to pull those puppies out before they overpower the wine. And it's always about balance. Everybody can make cuisine out of the food they have in the refrigerator, but a week later, the ingredients have changed, and now maybe you can't make the same dishes as effectively. So you're going to take care of it as the conditions determine, and that's my main job as the winemaker. I consider, where are the grapes at? When is it time to harvest them? What am I looking for? And what's happening this year? Where is it going? What can I get? And it's a bit of a balancing, gambling, risk management strategy to end up with the best product we can possibly end up with in the bottle. And over time, we've earned several accolades and medals. I think we're going in the right direction.
I like that analogy about the food, because grapes, you to make good wine, you need good fruit. And
Absolutely.
You're the one making the call as to when that fruit needs to come off the vine, and then how long it needs to sit in a tank, and what yeast to use, and all of those decisions.
Exactly.
I call it creative chemistry.
Exactly. And it's fantastic to be back into to get to use the chemistry that I learned in school. And it's excellent convergence of a lot of different skill sets.
You haven't always been a winemaker. You had a previous life, didn't you?
I had a previous life. I was in science with a big S for some time in Detroit. But you know what they say, science like crime does not pay. So I had to move on to something a little more lucrative, although a little bit less enjoyable, and enjoyed a career in industry for about a decade or so when circumstances presented themselves, which made this the best next step in my life.
That's great. And it's been a family-owned business from the start?
Well, my family's been farming in Harrow since 1927.
Oh, okay. And this land that the vineyard's on was your family's previous?
Actually, this land was, no, this is the home base is on the north side of Harrow, where it's primarily Brookston clay. I don't grow any grapes on the Brookston clay. I'm sure they'd be delicious if I could control the drainage, but that's another story. I don't want to digress. This farm was purchased in 1990, and we were producing record yields of seed corn for Syngenta Corporation, and having just remarkable crops: corn, wheat, and soybeans was and still is our grain rotation in our family farming operation. But I was the youngest of four, so I was the last to get to drive the tractor, you see, which meant I was taking care of my grandmother's garden, which, by the way, had 4 acres of grapes in it. And so,
it did.
Oh, yeah, I've been taking care of these things for a long time. So you pick up a few tricks on the way, and the background in science doesn't hurt. But I knew enough to know that I didn't know enough when I started growing grapes. So I went back to school at Washington State University to study winemaking.
Okay.
To make the whole thing make sense, because I was going to figure it out, on my own. That didn't seem like a very wise approach. And so I've been making wine here since 2012. 2011 that was the first vintage.
10 years. That's a decade.
Yeah. I hired a excellent winemaker some time ago, and he's moved on to other pastures. So I'm back in the saddle and really enjoying it.
Well,
couldn't be happy.
You're making some great wine. I've had a couple of the North 42 Degrees bottles, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to, I haven't tried the rosé yet. Looking forward to trying that, but I have tried your Cab Franc, and I'm a big fan.
I think you're going to enjoy that rosé just fine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again for taking the time, and we hope to get down to EPIC region very soon. And when we do, we'll definitely stop by.
Look forward to seeing you. Take care.